So, with that, I'm really excited to introduce our first speaker today, who's Rania Dean. Her topic is the Druze voice for Israel. Rania she finished her diploma in biotechnology engineering at Ort Broad. You tell me if I pronounced Brody, okay. With honors, bachelor's degree in political science and sociology from Bar Ilan University. Also with honors, a teaching degree from Bar Ilan University. She started her master's degree in international relations at Haifa University. Then she got married, moved to the U.S., and now she's volunteered with Stand With Us, and we've had Stand With Us here. Oh, okay. We had Stand With Us meet with us last year. Her social and political activism began at a very early age. Her dad was a central member of the Likud party, and she served as executive director of the Amarim Foundation, which is a Druze foundation. Professionally, she's an academic advisor at Zefat, or you were, or are. She was an academic advisor at Zefat College. She managed an online peace movement called Yalla Young Leaders, where she engaged with Arabs from across the Arab world in a peace advocacy project. And she was selected among 16 promising young leaders to join the Young Advisors of President Shimon Peres. Currently, she's a board member of the Natural Step Israel and vice president of the club ISJCC. And she's working on a book and her own podcast about being an Israeli Druze. Danya, welcome to Hazak. We're really excited to have you here. You want it out or in?
Good morning. Thank you for coming. It's not easy to get out of the bed and come to listen to someone who you never met with, about a minority who you never heard of. But thank you so much. So I'm really honored. Thank you for the organizers also for inviting me. Today, I have to tell you first that today was a long night for me because my family were under constant attack. My whole family live in Israel, so I didn't sleep this night because I was, on the phone with them, just checking on them all night long. So if you see that I'm going to sleep or something, just don't worry. Don't worry, I had a lot of coffee this morning. So this is our life in Israel, and this is why I'm here to tell you how we live in Israel, how we lived in Israel, and lots of things that the media doesn't want to show you about the beautiful Israel that we know. So as you already heard, my name is Rania, I'm Druze. I was born in a village in the north called Maghar, close to the Lebanese border. At some age, my family decided to move to Daliat el-Carmel. Now, where I live, it was a mixed town. We had Arabs, Christians, Muslims, Druze. We had also our Jewish neighbors. We used the same facilities, all of us together. So I had this sense of what Israel is all about since a very early age. I am a Druze, so I speak Arabic and Hebrew fluently. When I was little, I used to watch Arabic channels because back then we didn't have, internet or lots of channels. So I used to watch Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, of course, Israel as well. And I was listening to what they were teaching their kids back then. And I was telling to myself, are they talking about Israel? No, Israel is not like that. And they were teaching their kids how awful Israel is, how they kill people, how they are bad to Arabs, how they are not, fair to Arabs. And since very early age, I developed this sense of seeking fairness. I didn't understand politics, but I thought to myself, no, this is not the reality I live in. And my dad, as you heard already, he was very involved in politics and also local politics. So I followed his footsteps. I was very involved since a very young age. And in the student council, after that in the college, in the university, and I ended up being the young advisor of former President Shimon Peres. Now, I came from the very right of the political map because my family were Likud, and I said, okay, but I'm open to hear everything. And then he asked me to manage an online peace movement. And I said, okay. Honestly, I have to be honest with you. Back then, I didn't believe that peace is possible at that point of time. I always a big believer of peace. We always need to seek peace. But I didn't believe that peace was really a possibility back then. But I said to myself, okay, I'm going to do it because I want to know the other side. I want to know how they think, why they think like that. And I was shocked to understand and to assure to myself what I knew since I was a kid, how brainwashed they are, how their media and their politicians brainwash them to just keep the stability maybe in their countries. You have to know that even Egypt and Jordan, they have peace with Israel, but only talking for peace, any contact with any Israeli in their country is considered a criminal act. They have this anti-normalization law that they can put in jail anyone who just speak with Israelis in a suspicious way, in a peaceful way, it doesn't matter. And we had one incident that one of the peace activists just vanished in Egypt. And we had to contact the American embassy. He was vanished for 5 months only because he shared a post that included one Hebrew word. So that was the situation. I always saw things, and I didn't wait for people to fix it for me. So if I see something that doesn't feel right to me, I have to try to change it myself. And that's why I ended up here. I got married, of course, and I ended up here, and I tried to enjoy the housewife life. I tried Beverly Hills. It didn't work for me, so I'm sticking now with West Hills. I'm going to get back to Beverly Hills maybe later. But for now, I was certain that in USA, everything is okay. We live a very good life here, right? And then October 7th happened. And my friend Sarah asked me, she called me, she said, can you please come to my home? I have a group of Jewish friends, Americans. They don't know anything about Israel and they're just listening to media. And I want you just to talk to them because you are not Jewish. I'm so sorry to tell you that. And I told her right away, why are you apologizing? It's my duty. I'm coming. And since then, we've been doing this nonstop, going places, speaking about the real Israel that we know. And I want to tell you, tonight I told you that it was an awful night for my family in Israel, but it was also a good night, a good week overall, because for me, as Israeli, I finally feel that my country, Israel, is really doing what it needs to protect its citizens, not listening to the international world, what they say. So I think it's a duty for every country to protect its citizens, and so for Israel. We have the right as citizens to be protected, period. And I want to also tell you that living in a mixed village gave me this cultural, I think, privilege of being something in the middle. We, the Druze community, we are something in the middle. We are a bridge between the Israeli Jewish community and the Arab community. We understand both cultures equally. We speak both languages equally. And I want to tell you something. Wherever you see the Druze, know that these are the right side. And the Druze in Israel are very loyal to Israel, very patriotic in every aspect. And I want to just ask you one question before I start digging deep into the Druze community. I always ask this question. I will stop asking it when I see that the whole audience know the answer. Do you know what is this? Can you see it? Should I move? Close. This is the national anthem, Hatikva. Do you know where was it written? I give you 3 options. In Europe, in Jerusalem, or in a Druze village. Do you know? You can guess. Of course. It was written in Dalat al-Carmel, where I came from. And it was written by Sir Naftali Hertz. He used to live in a very big, British, beautiful mansion. And he wrote Hatikva. And after that, this beautiful home was turned to be Bet Yad Labanim, which is a memorial site to commemorate our fallen soldiers. Okay, so as we know, Israel is under attack. It's not only under attack by missiles and rockets, and it's not only our land that it's under attack, it's also our image, our morality, our people, and our right to exist. This had been always our story since 1948. And you know that it was also the story of the Jewish people even before. And we are attacked from Hezbollah, from Iran, from Jabhat al-Nusra, from ISIS, from Hamas, from PLO. And the list is so long, I can't even count. And also from the UN sometimes, from other governments, even friends of us that think that what we are doing is not right because they are not living the life that we live. And they don't know the complications that we face. And I want to just listen to this person. He is not among us anymore. His name is Ismail Haniya. He's a Hamas leader.
إسرائيل دولة لا مقام لها على أرضنا. إحنا هذه الدولة لابد أن نزيلها، لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك احنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوة، انه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها، وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه احنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات أن نقاتل نعم. ونحارب، لكن كما قلت لك بدنا ندفع ثمن. نعم احنا مستعدين، معلش بدي أقول لك بشكل واضح، احنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء وبنفخر أن نقدم شهداء، احنا لا نريد أن نمس لا بالمدنيين ولا أن نلحق الأذى بهم، لكن أوقات لأنه في تعقيدات في الميدان صارت في منطقة موجودة، وكان هناك في احتفال وكان في سكان وفي منطقة واسعة ليست سهلة على امتداد تقريبا 40 كيلومتر. يجب أن ننتهي.
أن ينتهي وين؟ بقطاع غزة؟
ينتهي إلى لا بتكلم عنه كل الأراضي الفلسطينية.
كل الأراضي الفلسطينية يعني طبعا. زوال إسرائيل؟
طبعا. وجود إسرائيل غير منطقي. وجود إسرائيل هو
Do you mean the annihilation of Israel? This is what you want? He said, yes, of course. Is he the only one that says that? No. Every radical Islam leader says that loud and clear. Our goal is to annihilate Israel and to work for that again and again and again. This is what they say. This is their goal. I'm just trying to move.
إسرائيل دولة لا.
Sorry. So on October, I just want you to look at the map, that map with the red spots. This is a daily map that shows where rockets are falling in Israel. They are targeting everywhere in Israel, and these are not bases, these are civilians, these are homes, these are schools, hospitals. This is the life in Israel. And do you think this started only on October 7th? No. It started when I was very young. I don't remember one day in my life without war or operation or preparation for a war. Never. I remember myself when I was in elementary school. I remember carrying a project to school, and I know you guys know you have grandchildren and kids. Your kids carry their project to school. I remember my project was to decorate my gas mask and take it to school because Saddam was launching rockets and he was aiming that he might launch gas rockets against us. That was our life. I wasn't, I was afraid to ride a bus because it might explode anytime. I was afraid to go to the mall because we might have a terrorist that will explode himself there. A restaurant. You know, here if you find the wallet, you take it because you're a good citizen. You take it to the security. You tell them, oh, someone left his wallet. Can you please call or do something, right? In Israel, we weren't able to do that. You know why? Because if we see a purse or a bag or a wallet, it might be explosive in it. So we had to call the security forces just to come and check it for explosives. This is how we lived in. And the massacres on October 7th, the atrocities, did it start there? No, not really. Look at this family. They were massacred, the Fogel family, in 2008. They came terrorists from the Palestinian territories. They beheaded their baby and kids, and they killed them. So it didn't start there. It was massive on October 7th, but it didn't start there. And here we are. After October 7th, I thought to myself, maybe now the word will be, we'll say, we now know what you're dealing with. Now it's so clear. Now it's so loud. They want to annihilate you. They don't hide it anymore. But there was a really very shaming silence all over the world. Few people, few countries expressed that they are sorry of what is happening and they condemn it. And right away when Israel just responded, which is the minimum right of any country, to respond, the whole world was against us. And this is the reality that I feel it's very biased. These double standards that we live in, they make me think, am I seeing the same things that they are seeing? Am I reading the same things that they are reading? Why is that? These questions that I always ask myself, why is that? And if you look at here, this list, look at it. These are all the major wars that Israel was involved in since 1948. The middle where you see all the flags is who started this war. Do you see Israeli flag in there? Not even one. Israel didn't start not even one war since 1948. It was always Israel alone against many other countries. And Israel won. So we have the last one. Who do you guess will win this war? A simple guess. I think Israel will win because the right side will always win at the end. Now, I noticed something in this list, and I want to share it with you. If you notice, this list, up until the 70s, up until 73, the Yom Kippur War, Israel was facing many countries, if you notice the flags. The Israel League, Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, Syria. Since 71, or actually since 73, up until now, the only flags that I saw was either the Palestinian territory or Lebanon, either Hezbollah or Hamas. And I asked myself, why is that? What changed? What had changed? And I connected this to Islamic revolution in Iran because it happened also in the 70s. And when Ayatollah Khomeini in the Islamic Republic started there, they started funding all the radical Islam in Lebanon and in the Palestinian territories. And they were funding it, and they are still funding them up until this day. So when they say that Iran is the source of all problems in the Middle East, I tend to believe this because I see it as a fact in front of my eye. And you know what bothers me the most? That we, the taxpayers of the USA, are paying money to Hamas, $31 million every month. You know that also Iran was funded this year billions of dollars. And what they are doing, they're just refunding the terrorist groups in the Middle East. And they also send some funds to the USA universities here. The biggest donors of our universities here are Iran, China, Russia, and Qatar. Can we ask ourselves why these countries want to invest money in our educational system? What their goal is? Do they really want to leverage our educational system? We have to always ask ourselves these questions. Because I heard once Muslim imam, he said it like this. I couldn't find the video. He said in Arabic, but I'm going to translate it to you. If you couldn't invade them with sword, which means by fighting, invade them with kids, which means demographically. If you couldn't invade them with kids, invade them culturally. And this is exactly what they are doing, in my opinion. We are a country that cherishes life. And we, the Druze community in Israel, share this value, the value of life with the Jewish people. But we are surrounded with countries that value death over life, that chant for their kids when they kill tens of innocent people. I just want you to listen to this person. I know you listen, maybe you listened to him before.
يابا يابا انا قاعد اكلمك من جوبا بصير افتح الواتس تبعه قول له وين شوف كيف قتله شوف كيف قتلك بيدي يابا ابنك قتل يهود هاي دخلوا فيني.
And he goes on and on. I don't want it to be long. He goes on, and his mom is cheering for him, and his dad says, "God bless you, son, for killing 10 Jewish people." And this is the culture. Are all Muslims like that? No, of course not. Most of the Muslim people are good people. The minority is bad people, but there are a lot in the world, and this minority is millions and hundreds of millions. And if we don't face it and deal with it, the end is not going to be good anytime soon, unfortunately. So for me as a Druze that live in the Middle East, the Druze community was oppressed for so many centuries and generations. The only place that we feel safe to say who we really are and to express our true identity as Druze is in Israel. That's why it's very important for us also, not only for the Jewish people, to keep Israel strong and powerful and the beacon of light in the Middle East. Now, today I'm going to focus a little bit on the Druze community to let you know and introduce my community to you. Who here among you, by showing hands, never heard of Druze before? Great. Okay, the rest are, who, with showing hands, of course, ever met with Druze except me? Okay. So the Druze minority is ethno-religious minority. Before I dig deep in it, I want to show you this slide. Because these are the soldiers, the Druze soldiers that were killed since October 7th only. This funeral is for the 12 Druze kids that were massacred by Hezbollah in the Golan Heights. These are their pictures. This beautiful woman, she's my husband's cousin. She's the first police officer, the Druze police officer. And the one next to her is my uncle, my mom's brother. He was serving as a major general in Sinai, then moved to Gaza, and he was serving in the reserve up until age 67, and then they told him, "That's it, you are too old, go home, rest." And this is my dad. My dad was so proud of his uniform, and he took one album, like 30 pictures back then in the 70s, because he was so happy with his uniform with the army service. My dad was vice mayor of our town. He was also central member of the Likud party. So our home was always hosting the Knesset members, prime ministers, ministers, diplomats. So I grew up in this environment where I was so patriotic. I used to carry the Likud Junior Likud party card with me everywhere, showing it to everyone. So this is the life that we were living. That man there with a book cover, he's my husband's uncle. He is the founder of the Druze Zionist movement. He passed away a few years ago. He wrote a book which he named it Brit Chaim Lanetzach, Life Covenant Forever. And there is a memorial site on behalf of his name in Herzliya. That man with the glasses, he's another uncle of my husband. He was a Knesset member for 11 years. He lost 2 sons in the army. He also lost a grandson in the army. And he established the Beit Yad Labanim, the memorial site for the soldiers that I told you. It was established on that house that Hatikva was written in. And he also established the pre-military academy. So, and last year, in 2023, he got Israeli Prize for Life Achievement on the Independence Day. So these are some of the people I know. By the way, I know 4 soldiers personally that were killed since October 7th. And I was digging deeper into the statistics, and I saw that unfortunately, our contribution also in this unfortunate death in the army is the same percentage as in the Jewish population. And it's not for quantifying death, it's just to show that the Druze are really well involved in and serve and give their part. This is a video of Druze soldiers.
Company Sergeant Major Eyal Ganam, a Druze Israeli, is an IDF commander in the Givati Brigade. He fought in the 2014 Gaza-Israel war and now serves as a reservist in the ongoing war. Ganam spoke to journalists in the Druze town of Majd al-Shams after a Hezbollah rocket killed 12 children as they played on a soccer field and wounded dozens.
This is my message to the whole world, because the world needs to understand this. Every time we need to do an operation, we always endanger ourselves. We put the highest risk on ourselves so we won't injure any innocent person.
Ganam explains that for a military operation that should take just 6 hours, the IDF often spends 12 to 24 hours to avoid civilian casualties.
This is exactly the reason why I personally believe that this war is taking so long. The reason is we're taking the time to think, to understand, and to attack against the ones who attacked us.
About 150,000 Druze live in Israel, mainly in tight-knit communities. While Arabic-speaking, they are neither Arab nor Muslim and practice a unique religion. Ganam feels the Druze know the difference between good and evil.
That is the way we as a population and community are always educated. Also in the IDF family, we're educated to do good things.
Ganam also believes his people do not want war.
We really try not to hurt the innocent, but to bring down all this terror that is taking place in the Middle East with the one goal, to reach the situation of peace.
Many Druze are Israeli citizens serving in the military. Others, like most in Majd al-Shams, choose residency over citizenship because they have relatives in Syria and Lebanon. As Israeli residents, they can travel more freely in the Middle East. Eyal's father, retired IDF Colonel Hamada Ganam, says he believes the trouble in the north is caused solely by Hezbollah and not the Lebanese people.
Just Hezbollah move their country to war. And most of the communities in Lebanon, I'm speaking about the Druze, the Christian, and the Muslims, Sunni Muslims, they don't want war because they don't, what is the result of the war, and they don't want to suffer. Because we know very well that Hezbollah working according to the policy of Iran.
In the meantime, Israel waits for Iran and
So this is just example. I know these people. The dad is one of my late dad's friends, just for you to know. So who we are, who the Druze are. As they said in the video, we are ethno-religious community. We are neither Arabs nor Muslims. But if you open Google or Wikipedia, you would see Druze are part of the Islamic Shiite sect. They were established in 1021 in Egypt. Their religion is secret. They believe in reincarnation, and they believe in all other prophets, and they live in Syria, Lebanon, etc., etc. While part of this is true, but most of it not. And the reason why our religion is really secret. And the secrecy is not because the religion has anything offensive to anyone, but because we are different. And we lived for many centuries among nations that the different is not acceptable. He's either need to be turned into, to become one of them, or pay the price. And the price might be being massacred, being killed, paying tax, and we had passed all of these things. We suffered from massacres through the history. We paid tax only not being Muslims. So we had to keep our identity secret. It's our existence as different people that is secret. I'm gonna give you some data about the Druze in Israel. So we are only 154,000. It's about less than 2% of the Israeli population. We speak Arabic and Hebrew, as I said. Our birth rate is 1.2%, which is very low compared to other minorities in Israel. I think our birth rate is lower than the Jewish birth rate. And also we have we are everywhere, not only in the army. Our percentage in the army is between 83 to 87%, while the overall average is 73 to 76%. But it's not only the army. It's also, we have judges, we have Knesset members, we have diplomats, everywhere that you go to in Israel, in every office you might see Druze, and also Arabs, and Christians, and Muslims. So if they tell you Israel is an apartheid state, okay, show me where exactly, in which institute, in which office Israel segregates or doesn't include someone who is not Jewish. Actually, there is not even a country in the Middle East that has more equal rights to its all citizens than Israel. Did you know that in Jordan, Palestinians that went to Jordan in 1967 still don't have citizenship? They're not considered citizens. In Lebanon, the Palestinians that fled the war back then, they're still not considered citizens. And they are talking about Israel, where all Arabs that stayed after 1948 war were granted automatically citizenship with full legal rights. And there are 20% in Israel that are Arabs, 80% of them are Muslims, which means it's more like almost 2 million. So these are the facts. And when someone comes to you and say, oh, Israel is not treating the minorities equally, face them with facts. Facts never lie. They just try to hide the facts, not to say the facts out of maybe anti-Semitism, Jew hatred. But the facts don't lie, and these are the facts. The fact that our Muslim judge, or Arab judge, our Arab judge put our president, Jewish president, in jail. This is fact. The facts are that our Knesset is full of Arab Knesset members. They can be elected even to be prime ministers or even the president of Israel, who knows? Nothing can stop them. These are facts. And these facts what you need to remember and to tell those people who attacked Israel. I want to tell you something very interesting about the Druze community, about women's rights. So according to our religion, women have full equal rights. So we can inherit just like men do, 50-50. If some woman doesn't like her husband that much and he causes her problems, she can divorce him. She doesn't need to ask for a divorce. And I want to tell you one more thing. In Israel now, in 2024, the level of education among the Druze women was the highest in the country. So the Druze women were the most well educated in the country. So as I said, the Druze went through lots of oppression. If you see these women from the 18th century, that was the traditional Druze uniform. And these are modern Druze women in Israel. One of them is a boxing champion, one of them is a police officer, and one of them just won the marathon and broke a record. These are just examples. We have diplomats, we have consuls, we are everywhere. Judges, our cousin is a judge. So we have the women everywhere, not only the men. And this is part of my religion as well. But it wasn't rooted in my community. For many years, we were so affected by the culture that we grew up at. The women didn't get all of their rights. But in Israel, since 1948, we started gaining our rights again. We started, accomplishing what our religion tells us to do, because we were freely expressing and practicing our religion. I want to just share with you a few of my religion principles that I am allowed to share. So I'm going to just show you this. If you notice, this is the Druze flag. It might come as stripes, sometimes as a triangle with 4 stripes, or a star. These colors have a philosophical, scientific explanation because our religion is about philosophy and science and spiritual also. I can explain to you here some of it. So the green color represents the mind of the human being. The red color represents the soul of the human being. And the yellow color represents the word. And I'm going to explain. So we believe that every human being has the power of the mind, the soul, and the word. The mind is a very intellectual, logical, sometimes lack feelings, and the soul is sometimes subjective, selfish, but it's full of feelings and empathy and emotions. And there is always this battle or conflict between the mind and the soul. And we say in our religion that good human being is the one who can find this harmony between his mind and his soul. And the harmony will produce the word. And when we say the word, we don't mean just the word. We mean the culture that you pass to other generations, the words that you tell people, the prayer that you pray. Everything that you take out of your mouth is expressed by words. And we worship a word. For us, the Druze people, word is a holy thing, holy matter, because it shapes who you are, and it also shapes the humanity and the community that you live in, and your contribution. We take it more further. We say that some people in the world, they have this almost perfection harmony between their mind, their soul, and this perfection of production of their word. And these people really affect their community in the best way possible. We say the more harmony you get between these three elements, the more you accomplish your cause in life. And this blue color represents the cause. The cause is how you as a human reach this harmony to accomplish your goal in life, your mission in life. And there is another level, which means the collective rational or the effect. What's that mean? When you as a human being reach this harmony between your mind, your soul, your word, and you accomplish your cause in life, and you serve your community in the best way possible, you reach the higher level, which is the effect, what you as a human can do to your community. And this is how we, the Druze people, act through our life, whether we are religious or not. We try to be good citizens. We try to be good humans. This is the principle. These are the 5 principles that we really act upon. And for us, we have a philosophical, spiritual meaning for the word prophet. We're not talking about the prophets, Moses, and we see prophet is a philosophical word of someone who reached the higher level of this perfection. And now he serves his community and the humanity in the best way possible. So these are some principles that I wanted to share with you. As I said, we believe in reincarnation, that the soul keeps coming back to this life up until it reaches this harmony. And when you just reach this harmony, your mission in this life is done. Now, everyone thinks, why are the Druze people a unique minority in Israel? Why not all the Arabs like them? So it's part of it because of our religion, because of our way of life, that we need to be loyal to the country that we live in as long as this country is good to us, that we need to serve our community. But also part of it is the connection, this bond between us and the Jewish people. And everyone thinks that this bond had started in 1948. But we, the Druze people, know that this bond had started way, way before. Now, here I have to explain to you something. If we read on Google or on Wikipedia or in history books, everyone says that the Druze people, as I said, are part of the Islamic Shiite sect, so they were established in 1021 in Egypt. For us, our oral tradition and history says different story. We learn at home that we are way before Islam. They tell us we are not part of Islam. We're here way before Islam. We are actually continuing Jethro's path. and he is our founder. Now, do you know who Jethro is? Jethro is to be believed that he is the father-in-law of Moses. He's the father of Tzipporah, which he was a very wise man. And now we, the Druze people, in our homes, we see all the time, in the history books or everything, things that are written about us, we are not allowed to fix. Because, as we said, our religion is secret, so we leave it. But we know our history, and our history says that we are the descendants of Jethro. Now, here I have to tell you, I have to be honest with you. I grew up in a like I can call it identity crisis. What I learned in history books and school, what I read, didn't align with what I hear at home. And I always ask myself, okay, so who should I believe? Like history, scientists, researchers, or my parents? I don't know, that was a tough question. But I was always a curious person. I wanted to know. And I studied biotechnology. I was really in love with science, and I'm going to get into that. So I was digging deeper and deeper, and I found some history books, not very famous, that did talk about the journey of this group of people, and they mentioned that they existed in Egypt before this Muslim caliphate, Hakim bi Amrillah, wanted to establish a new religion. And these people, just after his son went, because this man, his name was Hakim bi Amrillah, he wanted to establish a new religion, and he started. And it was really widespread in Egypt during the Islamic Empire. And when he vanished or died, because some people said he vanished, some people said he died, his son came and he refused to accept anything that his dad had done. He said, no, we're going back to regular Islam. This is all nonsense. And everyone who will not reconvert to Islam will be killed. And many people that converted were really reconverted again to Islam. But this group of people who existed before, this group of people said that it's dangerous to stay in Egypt. And they fled Egypt, and they ran away to one of the Mediterranean islands where the army of this caliphate followed them. And there was a leader of this army. His name was Nashtakin Darazi. This leader helped the dad spread this new religion. And actually, he was the one that introduced this small group to him. Because this dad, the Hakim bi Amrillah, he traveled to Greece and India. He was so fascinated about the Eastern culture and the spiritual culture. That's why he wanted to change the religion. And he had two advisors, Persian advisors. One, his name was Hamza bin Ali. One, his name was Nashtakin Darazi. They told him, you know what you are explaining to us, there is a small group here. They worship God in the same way that Abraham was worshiping God, very spiritual, very direct to God. And maybe you should adopt these principles and turn it into a religion. And this leader, Nashtakin Darazi, the one that helped the dad convert people to this new religion, he followed the core group of these believers to one of the Mediterranean islands and wanted to kill them. But they killed him, and they won this battle. And from there, the history books and our oral traditions say that they fled to Europe, to a mountain called Zagros Mountain, where they settled for many years. And from there, they again, during the Islamic Empire, the Ottoman Empire, another oppression, they were forced to pay tax because they weren't Muslims. By the way, did you know that during the Ottoman Empire, everyone that wasn't Muslim had to pay tax only for not being Muslim? Yeah, that was a tax for not being Muslim. I didn't see any tax like that in Israel, by the way. But anyways, the Druze people were forced to also again hide their religion, hide their belief, and they fled the Zagros mountain in Europe to the Syrian and the Lebanese mountains, and later on to the Israeli mountains, the Galil and the Golan. That was the oral tradition that we grew up listening to, and that was in a very, very few history books that I found. And still, this didn't convince me. I said, okay, maybe these books are not right. Who knows? And I speak Arabic. Why shouldn't I be Muslim? Why shouldn't I be Arab? And then the science came to life, and DNA and all of these researches. In 2005, several DNA tests were generated, and one of them was actually in the Institute of Technology, Rappaport School of Medicine in a Technion in 2008. And this research was trying to investigate and do research about genetic diseases, like per community. You know, there are genetic diseases for the Ashkenazis, for the Sephardim, and they wanted to see what are genetic diseases for the Druze community. So they took samples from every Druze community in the Middle East, including South America. 5 minutes? Okay, South America and everywhere else. And they found something very fascinating, that they found that the Druze DNA is so distinct. It doesn't look like all the other groups in the Middle East. It's actually other DNA tests were established, and they found more fascinating discoveries. They found that the Druze DNA has the Kohanim gene, which is a very, very old gene, which means they were really distinct and lived for many years, if not thousands of years. Another DNA test I have to tell you about, it was done to discover the origins of Jesus by European and American universities, and they found a very fascinating discovery. Can I show them this? Yeah. Very fascinating discovery.
Results of DNA testing are in. This unprecedented analysis has uncovered some astonishing information. The genetic material George and Dr. Barkachia tested from the shroud is mitochondrial DNA. This DNA passes unchanged from mother to child through many generations. Jesus' genealogy from the Gospels only lists the male names in Jesus' family tree. The information George and Dr. Barkachia have extracted may reveal, for the first time, Jesus' direct maternal line.
We got incredibly interesting results. We have a number of sequences belonging to people coming from the Middle East area.
Oh, wow.
Very rare mitochondrial types.
This is really fascinating because the shroud was supposed to be the burial cloth that wrapped Jesus, and we know that Jesus came from that part of the world. If it was a forgery and it had only been in Europe, around Turin and perhaps in France, we wouldn't really expect to see anyone from the Middle East.
Dr. Barkachia has compared the shroud DNA to the known mitochondrial variations in the world with surprising results.
One of the mitochondrial type belongs to a very rare ethnical group, which is called Druze.
Druze.
We got many copies of this sequence and type of DNA in the shroud.
That's really intriguing because that suggests that there's a possibility Jesus was Druze.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
We all know that it's not exactly. Jesus was Jewish, right? But that also sheds a light about our connection with Jethro. And again, it proves somehow that our oral history is somehow right. We do have blood covenant between us and the Jewish people that is way, way before Israel was established. And now I'm just going to conclude why I'm doing this, like why I'm digging deep into my identity, why I'm connecting this to Israel, why this is important. First, I have to tell you, I love all people equally. I don't suspect anyone until he proves it wrong to me. But the thing is that I want to know who I am, where I came from. It's my duty to my kids to tell them who they really are. And after years of oppression in an area that you are not allowed to say who you really are, your history is getting mixed up. And I think that it's my duty as a mom to know my kids' history, where they came from. And also I wanted to understand why this bond between us and the Jewish people. It's fascinating to me. It was always fascinating to me. And here, for me at least, I found answers. And I think that everyone in the world should really listen to the Druze people when they tell you that Israel is the best place on earth to live in if they leave us in peace. We never force any war against anyone. Just leave us live in peace, and you will see the best country in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rania. It's an excellent and very informative and very timely discussion. Thank you very, very much. No, it's great. No, thank you so much.